Under the stars. Well, some nights it felt like I was under the stars sewing this quilt. The name of my quilt this year was Under the Stars. I chose to make this quilt as I wanted to learn how to applique. Hi, my name is Emily Glenn. I'm a 9-year member of the Lake Wide Awake 4-H Club in Scott County, Kansas. This is my 8th year in the Fiber Arts Project. My parents are Roger and Tony Glenn. I have an older brother, Skylar. He was in 4-H for 12 years, and I always looked up to him. We live on a farrow-to-finish hog farm. We also raise milo, corn, and wheat. I got started in the Fiber Arts Project at a young age because my fiber arts leader in my county saw that I was in the clothing project and I loved to sew. She convinced me to take the Fiber Arts Project, and I started making quilts at age 8. I'm so glad she did. Since then, I've made over 15 quilts, and now I've got 3 of my cousins to sew quilts as well. Thanks to our patient grandmother who helps all of us girls sew. My grandma always lets us try harder projects each year. Each spring break and summer, us girls get together and have a quilting party. We each have a sewing machine, so we are able to do this very fastly. One goal I set for myself this year was to learn how to properly applique. I accomplished this goal by completing my Under the Stars quilt. This quilt consisted of a patchwork body with 4 appliqued snowman faces. I chose to make the body of the quilt and the snowman with coordinating light blues and grays. The challenging part of the quilt was the appliquing. This was my first time appliquing, and I didn't pick an easy pattern to start with. Each snowman had 6 different parts that had to be appliqued separately. I did not know how to applique, nor did my grandmother or mother. A family friend suggested that we go to the Quilted Crow quilt shop in Garden City, Kansas. While we were there, the lady showed us how to applique. She was very helpful by teaching me how to use heat bond light to join my pieces together and stick it to my quilt. This experience was definitely one of the greatest learning experiences I had throughout my project this year. After tracing and cutting out my pattern for the snowman, I realized that I had forgot to reverse my pattern. This made my snowman turn out the opposite direction as the pattern called. It wasn't a big deal, it just made my quilt more personalized. However, this was a good lesson for future applique projects that I plan to do. I received Reserve Grand Champion at the County Fair and the 5 State Fair. I also received a purple ribbon at the Kansas State Fair. Throughout this past 4-H year, I had many opportunities to do many community service projects in my Fiber Arts Project. I made a t-shirt quilt for a family friend, a KU quilt for a teacher that was retiring, and a quilt for my grandmother. The one I learned the most from was the t-shirt quilt. I'd never made a t-shirt quilt before, but when they asked me, I knew I was capable of completing the project. I chose to make the quilt heavier by placing 2 blocks of flannel with each t-shirt block. I made this a rag t-shirt quilt by clipping the seams and placing it in the washer. By the time I finished, my fingers were tired of cutting the seams. In the future, I would really like to hold a quilting camp for project members. I would help and teach them how to cut out their quilt, construct their quilt, and hand sew the binding. Also in the future, I have already started planning to make quilts for children in the hospital and people in the rest home. For several years, I've helped set up and tear down the Quilt Shop Hop in Scott County, and I've also displayed my quilts there. I plan to do this in the years to come. Even though sometimes I feel like I'm under the stars late at night sewing quilts, I've enjoyed the 8 years I've been in this Fiber Arts Project. I can't wait for the great experiences in the coming years. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video.